Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, ThatDarnKItteh.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way.
This is the Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read-through. And today we are covering Chapter 10.
Chapter 10.
Chapter 10. Okay, so, Kitty, I'm gonna make you write on the chalkboard 100 times. I will remember which chapters are blind blinds.
Yeah, I need to be made to write on the chapter where it says like on the chapter previously it said B. So this one didn't say BB. So
Look, it's possible I'm the one that messed up. I'll have to go back into the Discord and look at what all the recommendations were. But regardless, our confusion is your gain, audience, because we've got a half a blind now. I will say that Kitty is back from vacation. We had taken last week off, so I feel so out of practice.
Same.
I'm so excited to get back into it. Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Nuggets of pure allomancy, the power of preservation itself. Why Reshek left one of those nuggets at the Well of Ascension, I do not know. Perhaps he didn't see it, or perhaps he intended to save it to bestow upon a fortunate underling. Perhaps he feared that someday he would lose his powers and would need that nugget to grant him allomancy once more. In any case, I bless Reshek's oversight, for without that nugget, Elend would have died that day at the well. Oh, okay,
right.
So Elend's off the list. That's wild.
And the main thing, we got preservation.
Yes, big P preservation.
The allomancy, the power of preservation itself.
So the strange metal, it is just pure allomancy. I'm trying to... Allomancy given form. I want to look at it under a microscope. I want to know its chemical makeup.
Yeah.
Okay, so immediately I'm thinking, Reshek, it feels to me like Reshek, from his previous notes, what we know of his notes, is setting the stage for the creation of the Hero of Ages. It was my theory that he left that nugget for the Hero of Ages, and then these plaques, these metal plaques, to help guide him or to aid him in whatever way necessary to stopping ruin. Because presumably, Reshek knew that he himself was not the Hero of Ages. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, because all of the caches and things like that, it's not like addressed to him. It seems like he did have an idea that something else might occur. This is a failsafe, I suppose, of some sort.
Yeah. Here's the thing. That supposition is based upon the premise, then, that he left that nugget on purpose. But then this message goes on to say perhaps he feared that someday he would lose his powers and would need it again. And then he goes on to say that this was Reshek's oversight. It wouldn't be oversight if it was left on purpose. And I am going to go ahead and presume that the Hero of Ages knows what's on the metal plaques. So if Reshek did leave it on purpose in the hopes of guiding a Hero of Ages, then the writer here wouldn't be wondering at all about Reshek's motives because it would have been spelled out for him. So that kind of counters my suspicion.
Yeah, an in-world character doesn't have that suspicion. It might be later revealed.
Yeah. I think that's all I can glean in this moment from this. What are your thoughts?
And the main thing that I focused on was the preservation thing. And I wondered if it was Vin writing this because I expected Sazed to maybe say Ellen Venture. If Sazed's writing, it's Ellen Venture.
Oh.
But who knows? I don't know. It's just one clue. It's just like I don't think Vin's the only one that would find it a blessing that Ellen was saved. But I think just that thing, it might be Vin. That's what I'm thinking.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the main thing I got was preservation and Vin. Yeah.
Interesting. And for all the Vin POV we've gotten from her thus far, we don't know if she kept the knowledge or retained the knowledge that she had from the well.
Yeah.
Shall we get into the chapter then?
Let's do it.
Larstaism was a difficult one for Sazed to evaluate. The religion seemed innocent enough. They knew much about it. A keeper during the 4th century had managed to uncover an entire trove of prayer materials, scriptures, notes, and writings that had once belonged to a high-ranking member of the religion. We've heard of Larstaism before, haven't we? That's not the first time we've heard that name.
When I heard it, when I read it, I was like, nah, I don't know. But then when it was described, I was like, oh, okay, we've heard it.
Was it in the chapter that he was in with Breeze?
No.
Okay. I know we've heard this.
Yeah, it was in the previous book.
Ah. Was it the club's religion?
You'll see.
Yet the religion itself didn't seem very, religious. It had focused on art, not the sacred in the usual sense, and had centered around donating money to support monks that they could compose poetry and paint and sculpt works of art. That blocked Sazed's attempt to dismiss it, as he couldn't find any contradictions in its doctrines. It didn't have enough of those for them to conflict with one another. He held the paper in front of him, shaking his head, reading over the sheet again. It was strapped to the front of the portfolio to keep it from being caught in the wind. Oh, dear.
What?
Kitty, I have been unfair to you.
Mm-hmm.
This was not supposed to be a blind, and I did read the chapter.
Oh.
I read it the night, 2 weeks ago to the day that we finished recording the last episode, and I didn't pick it up again since because I had put last week's blind index card in as the bookmark. So every time I went to look at it, I thought it was a blind, and I just completely forgot I read the chapter.
Okay. Because I was wondering, I was like, why would this be a blind? There's nothing spectacular revealed or anything like that.
This was the weirdest sense of deja vu I just had. I'm embarrassed. Egg on my face. All over it.
So you didn't notice that when we read the epigraph, but I suppose you just must have read it pretty quickly and moved on.
Look, we recorded late last time. I must have been really out of it.
Yeah, for you to have read, because we recorded quite late, like an hour later than usual, and then you shouldn't have read. You should have just gone to bed, but you wanted to so badly.
I really do. It's so hard reading this book one chapter at a time. Mostly.
So it's a quarter blind.
Quarter blind. Okay. Yeah. Back to the chapter.
It was so funny. I'm like, what do you mean, oh no? I was like, what kind of theory could he be coming up with? Because we just looked at a page glowing in the wind almost. And he's like, oh no.
Well, I mean, just now I feel bad for presuming you were the one that... No, it's fine.
I mean, but I think considering my track record, yeah.
Oh gosh. He held the paper in front of him, shaking his head, reading over the sheet again. It was strapped to the front of the portfolio to keep it from being caught in the wind, and a parasol strapped to his saddle kept most of the ash from smearing the page. He had heard Vin complain that she didn't know how people could possibly read while riding a horse, but this method made it rather easy. He didn't have to turn pages. He simply read the same words over and over, turning them in his mind, playing with them, trying to decide. Did this one have the truth? It was the one that Mare, Kelsier's wife, had believed. She'd been one of the few people Sazed had ever met who had chosen to believe in an old religion he had preached. We got Mare back, boys!
Yeah, so that there's the obviously the reveal that it's Mare's religion. I think the similarity to Club's religion, because Club's was about it was about woodworkers and things like that and creating
Mm.
things. So I can see why you had thought it was that one. But yeah, this is Mare's, and she had actually begun to believe it because Sazed told her about it.
Yeah,
Quite significant, yeah.
yeah, and I can appreciate a religion that appreciates art.
Mm-hmm.
Art is divine, essentially.
Well, let's see.
Zalarsta believed that life was about seeking the divine. They taught that art draws us closer to understanding divinity. Since not all men can spend their time in art, it is to the benefit of society as a whole to support a group of dedicated artists to create great works, which then elevate those who experience them.
Right, yeah, because that makes sense. Rather than expecting everybody to be an artist, basically the priests of this religion are closest to the divine, but because they are creating the divine, yeah, it
Mm,
makes sense. I like it, and also people that consume the art, they are enriched by it as well. It makes sense to me. Doesn't have contradictions in that.
it's a sweet religion. I like that.
Mhm.
I would feel bad for someone who has the soul of an artist, but not the talent of an artist.
They would then have to find their art, find
Yeah.
what they what outlet they
I
can do.
I imagine it's a religion that would foster a culture which would be very supportive of the uniqueness of art and finding someone's unique talent and calling it
Hmm.
art.
Yeah.
That was all well and good in Sazed's estimation, but what about questions of life and death? What about the spirit? What was the divine? And how could such terrible things happen to the world if divinity did exist? It's very common, I think, for people who feel uniquely jaded when it comes to religion to say, why why would any divinity, why would any god let such bad things happen?
Yeah. It's a common thing to get snagged on when you're trying to find a reason to believe in divinity. Divinity is supposed to be all good as well. So why
Hmm.
should it encompass anything bad? Why should it allow anything bad? But then deeper understanding comes from seeing that terrible things can happen. It's all part of life.
Yeah.
So I think that this religion would probably look at that and say there is beauty to be found in these moments, the struggle that people have to go through. All of it is worth it in the end because we're alive and we can experience living. Living itself is divinity, and creating art is the heart of living
Right.
in
And
their estimation. That's what I see.
right. And I think the why would God let bad things happen idea is a very human centric
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
perspective to take on the question. I think it presumes that God, if we are to personify him, thinks as we do. And
Hmm.
I'm not sure that that's the case. But beyond that, particularly in a religion that champions art among all else, art is a meditative practice. It is, in theory, the act of creating preservation. The act of
Hmm.
creating, the meditation, that oneness one feels in their soul when they are creating something, expressing themselves in some way, that's not an external divinity. It is that connection to the human experience that one is participating in, and
Yeah.
that has no say on whether or not good or bad things happen outside of you.
Yeah, it's beyond that, actually.
Yeah. So Sazed's question here, I understand the question and I empathize incredibly with it, and I've thought it myself at times,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's pertinent to this specific religion. But obviously Sazed's going through his journey, so it's a
Yeah,
rational
and
question for
he's
him to
not.
ask.
Yeah, and he wants a set answer. He wants it written there as
Mm-hmm.
part of their doctrine, rather than this is something that, say, somebody would talk to one of the monks of it about, like where you would really examine this faith with somebody who actually has it. But all this is a remnant of the faith. So you can't ask those questions of it. And
Mm-hmm.
he just wants to read them and find the answer. That's it. He's on this journey looking for it, but he's already jaded anyway. So he's kind of harsh on these religions already. So he's like, okay, fine. Like we just had this whole conversation that he would definitely be able to have. He would definitely be able to see these kinds of things if, say, he was preaching this religion to Vin and Vin asked these questions. He would be able to come up with those answers. But he's not doing that for himself because of how
Mm-hmm.
jaded he is. So he's just like, okay,
Precisely.
dismiss. Mhm.
You know, Breeze said from the saddle of his horse, there's something amazing about all of this. The comment broke Sazed's concentration. He sighed, looking up from his research. The horse continued to clop along beneath him. Amazing about what, Lord Breeze? The ash, Breeze said. Covering everything, making the land all black. It's simply astounding how dreary the landscape has become. During the Lord Ruler's reign, everything was brown, and most plants grown outdoors looked as if they were on the very edge of sickly death. I thought that was depressing. But ash falling every day, burying the land. The soother shook his head, smiling. I wouldn't have thought it possible for things to be worse without the Lord Ruler, but, well, we've certainly made a mess. Destroying the world? That's no mean feat, if you think about it. I wonder if we should be impressed with ourselves. What are you going on about, Breeze?
He's just trying to have a conversation, it feels like. But
Yeah.
it's quite breezy for him to think about the way things look.
Yeah,
He's like,
it's
oh, okay, it's really dark now. Things have changed. They've gotten even worse. I didn't think that they could get worse. They've gotten worse. It's like a wry observation.
yeah, and there is that undertone of and we're at fault here.
Hmm. Yeah, we made this mess.
Yeah. It certainly does connect, though, to the religion that Sawsed's reading about, in a way.
Mm. Yeah, it's about the way things look. What's interpreting how something, interpreting anything.
Beauty.
Yeah. So let's see where he goes with it, because Sazed's also going like, "What are you on about?"
Sawzed frowned. Occasional flakes drifted from the sky, the upper atmosphere darkened by its usual haze. The ashfall was light, if persistent, falling steadily for nearly 2 months now. Their horses trudged through a good half-foot of the stuff as they moved northward, accompanied by 100 of Ellen's soldiers.
Whoa, mine's they moved southward.
What?
Yeah, that's quite a lot. Okay.
Jeez.
Mhm.
Wow, so you first we add like a year difference, then we add like a 6 month difference. Now we've got a pretty big geographical difference.
Mhm.
What are you up to, Ruin? Their horses trudged through a good half-foot of the stuff as they moved north and or southward, accompanied by 100 of Helen's soldiers. How long would it be before the ash grew so deep that travel was impossible? It already drifted several feet high in some places. It's an interesting long-term concern.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, it's just the world of ash, and then there's gonna be no food. Yeah.
Everything was black. The hills, the road, the entire countryside. Trees drooped with the weight of ash on their leaves and branches. Most of the ground foliage was likely dead. Bringing 2 horses with them on the trip to Lakal City had been difficult, for there was nothing for them to graze on. The soldiers had been forced to carry feed. Ooh, that's tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes travel even more of a problem. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad
And
they have feed for the horses. I don't want starving horses.
yeah. But have they considered making giant greenhouses? Unironically.
Yes. Yeah.
Like clear out
They're
a
gonna have
massive
to.
football field space or more,
Mm-hmm.
prop up
And
a
then you will have to
yeah.
clean off the ash every day. But yeah. You're concentrating your efforts. You're not trying to clean up the whole world.
Yeah. Better than nothing.
Mm.
I do have to say, however, Breeze continued chatting along in his normal way, protected from the ash by a parasol attached to the back of his saddle. The ash is a tad unimaginative. Unimaginative. Artistry is about imagination.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. So it is. It's like, what is this? Ruin is doing stuff, or somebody's doing stuff with this artistic background. I wonder if this is a little bit of a meta commentary on what he's done with this world.
Yeah.
It's like, oh Sanderson, you put ash falling from the sky. Ooh, how epic! So it's kind of like he's lampshading a bit. I don't know.
Little meta humor, you think?
Yeah,
Do
it's
you think
unimaginative.
Do you think Breeze snuck a glance at the card or the note that Sazed's reading and writing?
Maybe it's possible because Sazed was focused on it, so he might not have noticed Breeze like properly having a look.
Hmm. The ash is a tad unimaginative. Unimaginative? Why, yes, Breeze said. While I do happen to like black as a color for suits, I otherwise find it to be a somewhat uninspired hue. What else would ash be? Breeze shrugged. Well, Vin says that there's something behind all this, right? Some evil force of doom or whatever. If I were said force of doom, then I certainly wouldn't have used my powers to turn the land black. It lacks flair. Red, now that would be an interesting color. Think of the possibilities. If the ash were red, the rivers would run like blood. Black is so monotonous that you can forget about it, but red, you'll always be thinking, why, look at that. That hill is red. That evil force of doom trying to destroy me certainly has style. I love
He has
Breeze
a
so
point.
much. He does have a point.
Yeah, he does have a point. It's like, oh, I can ignore it. It's dreary, fine. You just kind of fade out. But like proper force and proper doom is red and gnarly. You know,
Mm.
it's in your face. It's painful.
Yep. There's depression and then there's edginess.
Yeah.
Breeze
Yes.
wants the edgy final boss.
Yeah. He's like, ugh, you're so lame, it's a good again like dry humor to criticize the force of doom and be like, you're so lame, force of doom. You know, like I like that. It's part of humanity as well.
Yeah.
So go
Sometimes
ahead.
something is just so bad you can't help but laugh.
Exactly.
I'm not convinced there is any evil force of doom, Breeze, Sazad said. Stupid Sazad!
Yeah, this irritated me so much, this next bit, because I was like, okay, yeah, Sazed, we get it. You are properly just, you don't believe in anything, but I guess that's what Sanderson is trying to show us, that this is where this character is.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think Vin's
If you
very,
don't believe in,
very trustworthy on this matter.
yeah, exactly, and if you don't believe it's just because if he doesn't believe in anything good, he's not going to even believe in anything bad. It's just what's the point is all he's
Hmm.
at. But Vin has seen. You have not seen what Vin has seen, okay? So think about it and also look around you, bro. Like, oh no, it's just a coincidence that all of this has happened now. It was going to happen anyway. Okay.
I'm not convinced there is any evil force of doom, Breeze, Zazed said. Oh? The ash mounts have always spewed out ash. Is it really that much of a stretch to assume that they have become more active than before? Perhaps this is also a result of natural processes. And the mists? Weather pattern change, Lord Breeze, Zazed said. Perhaps it was simply too warm during the day for them to come out before. Now that the ash mounts are emitting more ash, it would make sense that the days are growing colder, so the mists stay longer. You are trying, Sazed, too hard to be like Tyndall.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what he's. Well, yeah, he's applying a Tyndall lens, but I don't think that's what he knows he's doing.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just being over skeptical. He's not doing it like in honor of her or anything like that. He's just way skeptical, way jaded.
Yeah. Tindwell would be very upset with you right now, Sazed.
Well, she would I think no, I think she would consider all of these things.
Yeah, but I also think she'd
But
be really annoyed with him for, like, changing, for losing that part of who he is, losing his
yeah.
faith.
Yeah.
Even if she didn't have faith, she loved that he did.
Yeah.
Oh, and if that were the case, my dear man, then why haven't the mists stayed out during the day in the winters? It was colder then than the summer, but the mists always left when the day arrived. Sazed grew silent. Breeze made a good point, yet as Sazed checked each new religion off his list, he wondered more and more if they were simply creating an enemy in this force Vin had felt. He didn't know anymore. He didn't believe for a moment that she would have fabricated her stories. Good, Sazed. But if there were no truth in the religions, was it too much of a stretch to infer that the world was ending merely because it was time? Oof.
Oh,
Now that's
yeah.
not a great thought.
That's just the end. You know what? Just go lie in the ash and die. If that's how you're gonna think. Oh well, it's just time to
Yeah.
die. Oh well,
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do. Just resign yourself to it. Cool. Good night, guys. I'm just gonna lie here until the ash just buries me and I'm dead. So,
Yeah.
but that's what he's feeling.
Yeah. There was a movie with Steve Carell, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like those kinds of movies. Green, Breeze finally said. Sazed turned. Now that would be a color with style, Breeze said. Different. You can't see green and forget about it, not as you can with black and brown. Wasn't Kelsier always talking about plants being green once? Before the ascension of the Lord Ruler? Before the first time the deepness came upon the land?
Ooh, interesting that the first time the deepness came upon the land. So this is now this idea like, okay, the deepness is back, is further coming upon the land now. So this is the second time.
Yes. That's what the histories claim. Breeze nodded thoughtfully. Style indeed. It would be pretty, I think. Oh? Saz had asked, genuinely surprised. Most people with whom I have spoken seem to find the concept of green plants rather odd. I thought that once. But now, after seeing black all day, every day, well, I think that a little variety would be nice. Fields of green, little specks of color. What did Kelsier call those? Flowers? Sazed said. The Larsta had written poems about them. Yes, Breeze said. It will be nice when those return. I loved that. I love Breeze so much. This is not for his benefit. This is for Sazed's benefit.
Yeah, that's the whole point. But I think the way Breeze works though is when he is working on someone, it helps him as well.
I
So
agree.
he does get something out of it as well. That's why he does it.
Yeah. Return? Breeze shrugged. The Church of the Survivor teaches that Vin will someday cleanse the sky of ash and the air of mists. I figure while she's at it, she might as well bring back the plants and the flowers. Seems like a suitably feminine thing to do for some reason.
I like that. I really like that. I'm like, yeah, just a feminine touch on the world. We get some flowers and green.
Indeed. Sazed sighed, shaking his head. Lord Breeze, I realize that you are simply trying to encourage me. However, I have serious trouble believing that you accept the teachings of the Church of the Survivor. Breeze hesitated. Then he smiled. So I overdid it a bit, did I? A tad. It's cute. Yeah,
Well, it's still valuable to me. Like
I
even
agree.
he noticed it. He got some genuine surprise from the discussion, and then he realized what was happening. It's not this he would have been completely isolated otherwise in his thoughts. So having this discussion at all is a good thing. So I'm happy
Yeah.
with Breeze.
It's difficult to tell with you, my dear man. You're so aware of my touch on your emotions that I can't use much allomancy. And you've been so Well, different lately. Breeze's voice grew wistful. Still, it would be nice to see those green plants our Kelsier always spoke of. After 6 months of ash, well, it makes a man at least want to believe. Perhaps that's enough for an old hypocrite like me. I hope that line about wanting to believe
Mm-hmm.
really sticks with Sazed.
Yeah, I think it'll come up later for him, but yeah, it's something to keep in mind. When things are so helpless, this is exactly when you need faith.
Yeah,
And yeah, that can be enough for somebody. It's like, I want to believe. What's it going to hurt me? How's it going to hurt me to believe?
yeah,
Obviously, you can be disappointed, but if you just keep on believing, you can move through the disappointment.
yep. Faith keeps you going, frequently.
Mm-hmm.
The sense of despair inside Sazed wanted to snap that simply believing wasn't enough. Oof. Wishing and believing had gotten him nowhere. It wouldn't change the fact that the plants were dying and the world was ending.
Yeah, it wouldn't change the fact, but it would help you deal with it.
Yeah,
That's the thing. It helps you keep going. What your current religion is, Sazed, is lie down and die. That's what's going on in your mind right now. Is there's no point to any of this. That's what your belief is right now. So make a choice.
yeah. And here's the thing, frequently I feel like folks misrepresent what prayer is supposed to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of folks think, it's like a vending machine. You put one prayer in, you get one winning
Delivery.
lottery ticket back.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's not what it's about. It's about that meditation. It's about gratitude and
Mm-hmm.
shared experience and communalness. So,
Yeah, it's got a whole lot of power other than just, oh, we get what we want at the end of it if we just pray.
yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
That's all you have to do, guys. Yeah. Well, you see, that's why we have something now. That's called manifesting. It's the
Mm,
same sort of idea. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Vision board.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't worth fighting because nothing meant anything. Oof.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's exactly where he's at. Nothing means anything. So what's the point?
Yeah. Sazed forced himself to stop that line of thought. Good Sazed, but it was difficult. He sometimes worried about his melancholy. Unfortunately, much of the time he had trouble summoning the effort to even care about his own pessimistic bent.
Yeah. Super super depressed.
Yeah, at what point do all of his friends just, like, punch him and say, get back to your old self? Zolarsta, he told himself. Focus on that religion. You need to make a decision. Breeze's comments had set Sazed thinking. Zolarsta focused so much on beauty and art as being divine. Well, if divinity was related to art, then a god couldn't in any way be involved in what was happening to the world. The ash, the dismal, depressing landscape, it was more than just unimaginative, as Breeze had put it. It was completely insipid, dull, monotonous. Religion not true, Sazed wrote at the bottom of the paper. Teachings are directly contradicted by observed events. Screw you,
No.
Sazed. That did
Yeah.
not
Exactly.
contradict that particular
Mm-hmm.
religion.
No, it doesn't. That's what I mean. He's properly just dismissing. He's looking for reasons to dismiss it rather than reasons to keep it. I feel like he needs to come back to this one. I think what will happen is that he comes back to this one if he does ever wake up from this melancholy, because yeah, he's also made this assumption that divinity is all good all the time. We do have this force of ruin, right? We have ruin and preservation. We've been reminded of the fact that preservation is actually an entity in this, with this, the epigraph of this chapter, and he's not understanding that there is opposing forces then. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, because bad things are happening. Essentially, what he's done is, because bad things are happening, no divinity. As opposed to, you could think Breeze thinking about green and red and how things look, and the imagination, and the fact that they're even just talking to each other, being alive. That does contradict the fact that hopelessness is inevitable, whatever. The fact that they are alive and able to create things would mean in this religion that things are good, that we carry on. We are striving for beauty. We're striving to change the landscape back to a colorful landscape.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just clearly, because there's an issue. Things are supposed to be perfect. Religions, if the religion is true, then things are perfect. But no, it's not. So directly contradicted by observed events. So if we observe any bit of beauty, then we've contradicted him.
Yep.
His conclusion here.
It's about as strong an argument as his is.
Mm-hmm.
He undid the straps on his portfolio and slipped the sheet in, one step closer to having gone through all of them. Sazed could see Breeze watching out of the corner of his eye. The soother loved secrets. Sazed doubted the man would be all that impressed if he discovered what the work was really about. In any case, Sazed wished that Breeze would leave him alone when it came to these studies. I shouldn't be curt with him, Sazed thought. He knew the soother was, in his own way, merely trying to help. Breeze had changed since they'd first met. Early on, despite glimmers of compassion, Breeze really had been the selfish, callous manipulator that he now only pretended to be. That's not true-ish.
Yeah. Like, I think he just had more of it.
I think you just didn't know him quite as well, but I very distinctly remember thinking, as we were reading Mistborn, that he's always the first one to express care when Vin comes along and is upset.
Yeah, I think you're right. I also didn't agree with Sazed when he said this.
Yeah. Sazed suspected that Breeze had joined Kelsier's team not out of a desire to help the Ska, but because of the challenge the scheme had presented, not to mention the rich reward Kelsier had promised. There is some element here of Sanderson is still recapping us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That reward, the Lord Ruler's Atium cache, had proven to be a myth. Breeze had found other rewards instead. Up ahead, Sazed noticed someone moving through the ash. The figure wore black, but against the field of ash it was easy to pick out a hint of flesh tone. It appeared to be one of their scouts. Captain Goradel called the line to a halt, then sent a man forward to meet the scout. Sazed and Breeze waited patiently. "Scout report, Lord Ambassador," Captain Goradel said, walking up to Sazed's horse a short time later. "The Emperor's army is a few hills away. Less than an hour." Captain Goradel's back, yay! He's made something for himself.
Yeah, just kept going.
Yeah.
He's a captain. He's with the Lord Ambassador.
Goradel is the hero of ages. What? Who said that? Good, Sazed said, relishing the thought of seeing something other than the dreary hills of black. Poor Sazed. "They've apparently seen us, Lord Ambassador," Goradel said. "Riders are approaching. In fact, they are..." "Here," Sazed said, nodding into the near distance where he saw a rider crest the hill. This one was very easy to pick out against the black. Not only was it moving quickly, actually galloping its poor horse along the road, but it was also pink. Jeez. For a second there, quarter red, I thought it was going to be Vin, but now I remember who it actually is.
Yeah, and we just had the thing that he had other rewards. He got other rewards, and this is his reward.
Yeah. "Oh dear," Breeze said, sighing. The bobbing figure resolved into a young woman with golden hair wearing a bright pink dress, one that made her look younger than her 20 years. Alrion had a fondness for lace and frills, and she tended to wear colors that made her stand out. Sazed might have expected someone like her to be a poor equestrian. Alrion, however, rode with easy mastery, something one would need in order to remain astride a galloping horse while wearing such a frivolous dress.
So there's beauty. Boom. Beauty, color, life, skill.
Yup.
Someone you might call being an equestrian an art. So there you go.
Yup.
Religion no longer debunked.
Yup. The young woman brought her horse to a halt in front of Sazed's soldiers, spinning the animal in a flurry of ruffled fabric and golden hair. About to dismount, she hesitated, eyeing the half-foot-deep layer of ash on the ground. "Alrion?" Breeze said after a moment of silence.
"Hush. I'm trying to decide if it's worth getting my dress dirty to scamper up and hug you."
"That's so cute." We could wait until we get to the camp.
I couldn't embarrass you in front of your soldiers that way.
Technically, my dear, they are not my soldiers at all, but Sazed's. Reminded of Sazed's presence, Alrion looked up. She smiled prettily towards Sazed, then bent herself in a horseback version of a curtsy.
Lord Ambassador,
She said, and Sazed felt a sudden and unnatural fondness for the young lady. She was rioting him. If there was anyone more brazen with their allomantic powers than Breeze, it was Alrion. This is a good introduction to her. I think it really, really
yeah.
grasps who she is. Much of who she
Yeah,
is.
and also just, yes, and just having this dreary landscape and the fact that she's just a flurry of color and vibrance. Yeah, it works so well.
Princess, Sazed said, nodding his head to her. Finally, Alrion made her decision and slipped off the horse. She did it! She got dirty for him.
She
What
missed him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. She didn't quite scamper. Instead, she held up her dress in a rather unladylike fashion. It would have been immodest if she hadn't been wearing several layers of lace petticoats underneath. Eventually, Captain Gorodel came over and helped her up onto Breeze's horse so that she was sitting in the saddle in front of him. The two had never been officially married, perhaps partially because Breeze felt embarrassed to be in a relationship with a woman so much younger than him. When pressed on the issue, Breeze had explained that he didn't want to leave her as a widow when he died, something he seemed to assume would happen immediately, though he was in his mid-40s. Okay, so I read that and I'm like, so there is still that chance to marry royalty, or whatever the prophecy said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a child of royalty or something.
Yeah. We'll all die soon, so way things are going, Sazed thought. Our ages do not matter. This is going to be a slog, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's properly like I think we not noticed before, but this is even heavier.
Yeah, in no small way, Sazed has fundamentally changed.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be a long journey. This is not him snapping out of it in a day or two.
Yeah. It will feel very rewarding if he does, though.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps that was part of why Breeze had finally accepted having a relationship with Alrion. In any case, it was obvious from the way he looked at her, from the way he held her with a delicate, almost reverent touch, that he loved her very much. Our social structure is breaking down, Sazed thought as the column began to march again. Once the official stamp of a marriage would have been essential, especially in a relationship involving a young woman of her rank. And yet, who was there to be official for now? The obligators were all but extinct. Elend and Vin's government was a thing of wartime necessity, a utilitarian, martially organized alliance of cities, and looming over it all was the growing awareness that something was seriously wrong with the world.
If anything, that makes it more important to have faith and to hold on to social structure, to hold on to love. Okay, love at the end of the world. It reminds me of Skyrim. When in Skyrim, if you want to get married, it's one of the things is that we must get married because it's so dangerous and we have to live as much as we can before the end, kind of thing.
Yeah. Why bother to get married if you expected the world to end before the year was out? Sazed shook his head. This was a time when people needed structure, needed faith to keep them going. He should have been the one to give it to them. The Church of the Survivor tried, but it was too new, and its adherents were too inexperienced with religion. Already there were arguments about doctrine and methodology, and each city of the new empire was developing its own variant of the religion. That sounds worrisome to me a little bit. Somewhat
Yep,
natural,
it's
but a
going
bit
unchecked.
worrisome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's natural, but it's going unchecked. Nobody is. You don't know what could go wrong. We could have you know extremists eventually
Mhm.
with this,
Yeah, that's
like with any
concerning.
religion. Yeah.
In the past, Sazed had taught religions while claiming to believe in each one, but not trying to live them. He'd accepted each as being special in its own way, and offered them up as a waiter might serve an appetizer he himself didn't plan to eat. Doing so now seemed hypocritical to Sazed. If this people needed faith, then he should not be the one to give it to them. He would not teach lies, not anymore.
Well, that's weird. He's just spoken about not living the religion and not really believing. He says he believed in all of them, but you can't really believe in all of them if you're not practicing them all, right? So
Right.
he found value in all of them, and he would serve them up to people, and they would have to choose whether to believe in it or not, and that was his job. Okay, now that he himself has this crisis of faith, they can't. They are not. He can't offer it to them. It's very strange because it's like you weren't believing in them actually before.
Right, because
But I
you weren't
suppose
living them. Because what you
yeah,
believe or what you act out is what you believe, or something to that effect.
yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So it's technically nothing really has changed because you still don't believe in them. But the thing is, he believed in their purpose, in their utility. He believed that it was a good thing to give that to people. But now he's like, oh no, they're lies. He's seeing them as lies. He's peddling lies. It's actually it's being dishonest because he's been disappointed by the world. He's experienced such loss and tragedy. There is no hope. So how could he sell hope to people? That's the whole crisis that he's going through. And I really don't think it's something that will go away in the next few chapters or anything like that. It's his journey throughout the whole book. Yeah.
Yeah. Line break. Sazed splashed his face with the basin's cold water, enjoying the pleasurable shock. The water dribbled down his cheeks and chin, carrying with it stains of ash. He dried his face with a clean towel, then took out his razor and mirror so that he could shave his head properly.
Why do you keep doing that?
Asked an unexpected voice. Sazed spun. His tent in the camp had been empty moments before. Now someone stood behind him. Sazed smiled. Lady Wynne. Ah, well, something makes him smile. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is a good question considering what we've just, what we've been talking about. Why does Sazed still do these things look, it's not exactly religion, but it's culture. Why not abandon absolutely everything?
Yeah.
Abandon cleanliness, abandon everything. There's no reason to do anything, Sazed, if we're going to do this logically, right?
Where's the depression beard?
Yeah.
She folded her arms, raising an eyebrow. She had always moved stealthily, but she was getting so good that it amazed him. She'd not even rustled the tent flap with her entrance. Her standard shirt and trousers, after male fashion, doubtless contributed to her stealth, though over the last 3 years she had grown her raven hair to a feminine shoulder length. There had been a time when Vin had seemed to crouch wherever she went, always trying to hide, rarely meeting the eyes of others. That had changed. She was still easy to miss, with her quiet ways, thin figure, and small stature, but she now always looked people in the eye. Nice, she's growing.
Yeah. Good summary of the journey she went through. So we need him to do this kind of journey as well, of going from hopelessness to faith, to trust.
Mm-hmm. But she now always looked people in the eye, and that made a big difference. General Demure said that you were resting, Lady Wynne, Sazed noted.
Demure knows better than to let me sleep through your arrival.
Good Demure. Very smart Demure.
Mm-hmm.
Wise Demure. Sazed smiled to himself, then gestured toward a chair.
You can keep shaving. It's all right.
Please, he said, gesturing again. Vin sighed, taking the seat.
You never answered my question, Saz. Why do you keep wearing those steward's robes? Why do you keep your head shaved after the fashion of a terrorist servant? Why worry about showing disrespect by shaving while I'm here? You're not a servant anymore.
Good itemized list of all the things he does that maintains his steward status.
Yeah, things that are just habits.
He sighed carefully, sitting in the chair across from Vin. I'm not sure of what I am anymore, Lady Wynne. The tent walls flapped in the gentle breeze, a bit of ash blowing in through the doorway, which Vin hadn't tied closed behind her. She frowned at his comment.
You're Sazed.
Emperor Wencher's chief ambassador. Does that mean he's not Sazed?
Yeah. No, well, he's more than Sazed, or... Sazed, yeah, these are the same things?
Emperor Wencher's chief ambassador.
No. That might be what you do, but that's not what you are.
And what am I then?
Sazed, keeper of terrace.
A keeper who no longer verses copper mines? This is very argumentative, Sawset. This doesn't sound like your typical fight, but it sounds like a fight.
Yeah, he usually is. He's not. That's a fight for Sazed, yeah.
Yeah. Vin glanced toward the corner and the trunk where he kept them. The knowledge of peoples long dead sat there waiting to be taught, waiting to be added to. I fears that I have become a very selfish man, Lady Wynne.
That's silly. You've spent your entire life serving others. I know of nobody more selfless than you.
I do appreciate that sentiment, but I fears that I must disagree. Lady Wynne, we are not new to sorrow. You know better than anyone here, I think, the hardships of life in the final empire. We have all lost people dear to us, and yet I seem to be the only one unable to get over my loss. I feel childish. Yes, Tinville is dead. In all honesty, I did not have much time with her before she passed. I have no reason to feel as I do. Still, I cannot wake up in the morning and not see darkness ahead of me. When I place the metal mines upon my arms, my skin feels cold, and I remember time spent with her. Life lacks all hope. I should be able to move on, but I cannot. I am weak of will, I think. It's probably good that you expressed that, but it's also very raw. I guess who else are you going to share that with? You're probably closest with Vin of anyone.
Yeah. I think that's good. It's good that like he actually has this self-awareness here. It's not just that he's he's just lost. You see it that he had several smiles for Vin as well. So it makes sense that he will have this self-awareness around Vin.
Yeah.
The rest of the time he just retreats into himself and becomes isolated and wants Breeze to leave him alone and not speak to him and whatever. So this is good and raw, and he notices, oh, I haven't been able to get over this. But then he's in the cycle of self-criticism now because he's like, oh, well, I haven't gotten over Tindwell. I should have gotten over Tindwell. I'm selfish, I'm selfish, I'm selfish, I'm horrible. And continue.
Yeah.
You know.
And the sentence, life lacks all hope. If I'm Vin and I hear Sazed say that, I start thinking someone should be with Sazed at all times now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I am weak of will, I think.
That just isn't true, Sazed.
I must disagree.
Oh? And if you really were weak of will, would you be able to disagree with me?
Sazed smiled. Then did you get so good at logic?
Living with Elend.
Vin said with a sigh.
If you prefer irrational arguments, don't marry a scholar.
Humorous. I almost did. The thought came to Sazed unbidden, but it quieted his smile nonetheless. Vin must have noticed, for she winced slightly.
Sorry,
she said, looking away. It is all right, Lady Wynne. I feel so weak. Look, what are the odds that it's not just that he's uniquely depressed? What if it's because he's the hero of ages, Ruin is doing something to him?
Yeah.
Does Ruin know Sazed is the hero of ages?
He would probably get a lot more attacks if he did.
That's true. It's all right, Lady Wynne. I feel so weak. I cannot be the man my people wish me to be. I am perhaps the very last of the keepers. It has been a year since the Inquisitors attacked my homeland, killing even the child pharochemists, and we have seen no evidence that the others of my sect survived. Some were out of the city, certainly, and inevitably, but either Inquisitors found them or other tragedy did. There's been enough of that lately, I think. Here's
to me hoping that there is at least, like, one other pharochemist, whatever. Like, we need more.
This does remind me, though, I was contemplating this week what it is about the Terrace people and their connection to pharochemy in its relation to Ruin. We know that there are these three metallic-based powers, and pharochemy is one of them. And so far, pharochemy seems to be the only one that is also racially linked. So I'm wondering if the Terrace people are the people, perhaps, that locked Ruin up in the first place, maybe?
Yeah.
Uncertain. But I think there's info there.
Yeah. It also seems like they are important in that what's it, hemalurgy. That the reason, like the leveling up of the Inquisitors seems like it had to be ferrochemists.
Hmm.
So there's something there. Like that third one uses both allomancy and ferrochemy in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah. Vin sat with her hands in her lap, looking uncharacteristically weak in the dim light. Sazed frowned at the pained expression on her face. Lady Wynn?
I'm sorry. It's just that you've always been the one who gives advice, Sazed. But now what I need advice about is you.
That's such a cute line.
Yeah. But it's so true. It's like, yo, you're usually the one with hope, that you're usually the one that we go to. And
Yeah.
I can't ask you how to help you because you're just dreary yourself.
Yeah. There is no advice to give, I fear. They sat in silence for a few moments. Hug 'em!
I wonder if he is a hugger. We found the stockpile, the next to last cabin. I made a copy for you of the words we found, etched in a thin sheet of steel, so they'll be safe. Okay, so we've started doing that now.
Yes, good. I hope all
Yeah.
military intel is sent that way. And you
Mm-hmm.
guys really should
Yeah.
start learning sign language instead of speaking where Ruin can hear you.
Yeah. I wonder if he can see as well as hear. Like how effective would that be?
Yeah. Thank you. Vin sat, appearing uncertain.
You're not going to look at it, are you?
Sazed hesitated, then shook his head. I do not know.
I can't do this alone, Sazed. I can't fight it by myself. I need you.
He doesn't even believe in it. Poor
Yeah,
Vin.
exactly. It's yeah, exactly. She does. That makes me think in this book. It's like the answers will have to come from Sazed, but we're waiting on Sazed to look at these things to have hope for
Yeah.
before he figures them out for us.
Yep. The tent grew quiet. I am doing what I can, Lady Wynn, Sazed finally said. In my own way. I must find answers for myself before I can provide them to anyone else. Still, have the etching delivered to my tent. I promise that I will at least look at it. Good. Good promise. You keep that, Sazed.
I hope he keeps it. Who knows? I wouldn't expect him to keep his promises at this stage. He's got
Yeah.
nothing really fueling him.
Yeah. She nodded, then stood.
Ellen's having a meeting tonight to plan our next moves. He wants you there.
She trailed a faint perfume as she moved to leave. She lingered beside his chair.
There was a time, after I'd taken the power of the Will of Ascension, when I thought Ellen would die.
But he did not. He lives still.
It doesn't matter. I thought him dead. I knew he was dying. I held that power, Sazed, power you can't imagine. Power you'll never be able to imagine. The power to destroy worlds and remake them anew. The power to see and to understand. I saw him, and I knew he would die, and knew I held the power in my hands to save him.
Sazed looked up.
But I didn't. I let him bleed and released the power instead. I consigned him to death.
How? How could you do such a thing?
Because I looked into his eyes and knew it was what he wanted me to do. You gave me that, Sazed. You taught me to love him enough to let him die.
Very powerful passage.
Yes.
I think it's impactful for Sazed. I don't know if it's gonna immediately have an effect, but I do think it is one of many bricks in the wall.
Yes, the one. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like it's like these things will have to come back to him at a later stage. I don't think that they're immediately going to be effective, but at a later stage, these will start to ring true and start to be relevant to him. We just don't know when that's going to be. But this is a really important thing: loving someone enough to let them die, loving someone enough to move on and continue. And you know that I think that's good on Vin for explaining that. And also we get a bit of understanding that Vin does remember, because you were asking in the beginning what does Vin retain from this, and it seems like she remembers a lot.
Yeah. She left him alone in the tent, A few moments later, he returned to his shaving and found something sitting beside his basin. A small folded piece of paper. It contained an aged, fading drawing of a strange plant. A flower. The picture had once belonged to Mare. It had gone from her to Kelsier, and from him to Vin. Sazed picked it up, wondering what Vin intended to say by leaving him the picture. Eventually, he folded it up and slipped it into his sleeve, then returned to his shaving.
It's hope.
Yes, it is
what
hope.
she's given is hope. Yeah, that's what she's. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Sweet. It is
And
so
it's
sweet.
and it's it. Yeah, it's so sweet, but it's from Mir, and that is the religion he was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So it all works together, but part of the brilliant frustration that Branderson is fostering in us is we can see all of this light, and Sazed can't.
Yeah. But he'll get there, I'm confident.
Eventually, but we're in for a long haul, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Gosh, anything else to say?
No, good character chapter.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks for doing this with me, Kitty.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks,
Okay, thanks,
bye.
bye.